you recognize Itay. But poor Itay, every time he comes to visit, I make him come up on the beam of Shaarey Zedek. So I'm worried he's going to think twice about coming to visit again in the future. 2 years ago, we had the honor of hosting Itay Schwartz from Shimshit, Israel. He was one of the Shinshinim, one of the people volunteering their year after high school to come serve abroad, in our case, in the Detroit area, to represent Israel, to teach about Israel, and maybe even to bring a little about American Jewry back to Israel. So Itay served at Temple Shir Shalom, he served at the Frankel Jewish Academy, and he most definitely served at Camp Tamarack, which I think is one of his favorite places on earth. And that second half of that year, those second 6 months, the Starr family had the honor of hosting Itay in our home. We fell in love with Itay Schwartz. He became our adopted third son, the one for whom we don't have to pay for college, and a beloved member of our family. And through our relationship with Itay and the opportunity to travel to Israel, we also fell in love with Itay's family, the Schwartz family. And I am beyond overjoyed to welcome Itay's mom, Hila Schwartz, who is here with us as well visiting. They chaperoned an incredibly large group of Israeli kids to Camp Tamarack for the summer. I'm really proud of Tamarack for how many Israeli children they brought to give them a summer, God willing, of joy and peace here in Ortonville, Michigan. And Hila and Itay have agreed to share some of their thoughts and experiences with us. Just a quick moment about Hila. She's not just Itay's mom, but Hila is also an incredible professional in Israel. She was a warden in the Israel prison system. They let her out, from which she retired a few years ago after decades of service. And then even in her retirement, Hila founded a nonprofit organization called U-Turn that tries to give released inmates a chance at freedom and success here outside of the prison walls. In addition to all of that, she is an incredible leader and volunteer in the partnership relationship between Jewish Detroit and the Central Galilee region in Israel. And so it is really my pleasure and my honor to welcome our friends and even more than my family here to Israel. So Itay Schwartz and Hila Schwartz, thank you so much for being here this morning. I'll turn to you, Itay, to start. Always a smile on his face.
Can they hear me?
Is it on?
I'm not sure.
Let's check.
It's on.
Oh, okay. First of all, it's the first time I have a microphone like this, so now it's serious.
Now it's serious.
Yeah. So first of all, good to be back. There's a lot of great things about America: McDonald's, Wendy's, Dairy Queen,
Chipotle.
Chipotle. Nothing like the egg salad of a Shaarey Zedek congregation. So actually, I'm getting the emails from Shaarey Zedek every single week in Israel, and I have the fear of missing out every single week on Shabbat services. So I'm very glad that I could actually attend this one here. And it's very nice to see you all. I saw some familiar faces. It's very nice to be back home. So it's not just the Starr family. It's the whole congregation and being part of something that you can actually see that it's bigger than you. And it's the huge bima, and that's the huge crowd, and just going past Shaarey Zedek every time. It's just the feeling of being in a place that it's bigger than you. So it's good to be home. It's good to be back, and that's it.
He doesn't even need me to ask him questions.
My English is not as good as it used to be, though.
It is very good. Welcome home.
Thank you.
I want to take you back 8 months if I can, because all of us have been living through you a little bit and your family and the stories that I've been able to share. But all of us have been reading the news, watching the news every day, sitting on pins and needles ourselves. So I'm wondering if you can take us back to October 7th. Tell us where you were on October 7th and why were you there?
Okay. So actually, before I'll start, the first thing that I thought about when I walked in the store is that today is Shabbat, it's Saturday, right? And I thought of you guys on October 7th. I thought, what happened here? Because you guys are 7 hours behind us. So that means that by that time, it's around 6 p.m. right now in Israel. So the image got a little bit brighter, and people started to realize what's going on. So I was genuinely thinking about you guys and what happened here. How was the service? How was everything? And I didn't even think about it until now. So 8 months ago. So once I came back from my gap year here, which was amazing and I loved it, I came back to Israel, which does not have Dairy Queen, McDonald's, or anything that I mentioned before, especially not the egg salad on Shabbat services. And I came back to be a part of the IDF Academic Reserve Program. So that means that the IDF paid me to go to law school. I'm talking to them, right? So the IDF paid me to go to law school for 3.5 years, so I can be a lawyer from the Army, and that could be in the international court, as we all saw in the past couple of months. It could be against terrorists from Gaza or the West Bank or whatever it is, and just any legal work that the IDF has, so I'll do it. And during semesters, we have some things from the Army. So if it's basic training, if it's an officer course, if it's anything that the Army needs us or wants us to do. So basically, once I came back, they gave me a contract. It was a very long one from the IDF that said, from now on, you are ours, and we can do whatever we want with you. So I'm an IDF property right now. So when I came back, I had my first year of law school, and during the summer, I had a break from school, and I had my basic training. So the basic training is a month, just a bit over a month long, and you do whatever they need you to do. So you're doing a first aid course, and they learn you how to shoot, and how to combat a little bit, and how to be how to be a soldier. So from 0 to 100, they really take you from not knowing anything to being fully secured with a weapon and do whatever you need in order to protect and be protected. So I came to that basic training after doing a hike in Europe with 2 of my friends, one that I'll talk about more over this session, which unfortunately October 7th was his last day, but I had the chance of being with him abroad just 2 weeks earlier. So I started my basic training. Everything went quite well. I actually enjoyed it very much. As I mentioned before, I love being in organizations that you're part of something that's bigger than you. So if it's Congregation Shaarey Zedek or the Army or whatever it is, just to wear uniforms, be a part of something that you know it's a symbol for something that everyone in Israel go through. And that's where I found myself on October 7th. So our base was around 4 kilometers from the Gaza border, and we were staying over Shabbat for guarding. So we do 4 hours of guarding, 4 hours of resting, 4 hours of guarding, 4 hours of resting, just go through the whole weekend. So we started on Thursday, and we went to Saturday, basically. So my last shift was on Saturday, 6:30 a.m. So I woke up around 5:45 to get ready, put my uniforms on. We didn't really sleep for much because it's you get 4 hours and you don't actually fall asleep. And I went and I said, okay, I'll get there like 6:15 because it's the worst shift you can have because it's over the night. So it's from 2:30 to 6:30. So I say I'll just be early and give the other one of my friends a time to rest. So I got there around 6:15, and I think it was 6:29 when we heard a boom. And so imagine a tower. There's 2 soldiers. So one is on the tower, which was myself, and I had another friend which was on the ground. And then once we heard the boom, the other guy turned up to me and said, "What was that?" And I was not really thinking. I just said, "It's probably a jet." Not thinking about what a jet would do in Shabbat in Gaza. Just that was the first answer that I had. And actually, it was a beautiful sunrise. So I have a picture from in my iPhone from 6:30 a.m. Picturing the sunrise, and I took a photo of the sunrise, and then I looked back and I saw the whole sky were white because of the smoke of the missiles. So it was the first one was at 6:30 a.m. and it was they shot. I don't even know the exact number, but you can just imagine the picture of a blue skies. It was a hot day, a blue sky like now. It was a blue skies and the whole sky were trails of missiles. So because we were so close to the border, we didn't have the alarm. We didn't have the siren until like 15 seconds later. So I went on the radio, and I told them, Medini, which is the name of the place that you send the radio to. Medini, this is bunker. This is where I was placed in. There's a lot of missiles right now in the air. You should probably expect a siren. And once I finished talking, there were sirens all loud. And from that exact moment until now, there's a war going on. And for the next probably 20 hours, it was just as you expect in the movies. So you see a war in the movies. There's a lot of booming. There's a lot of booms going around. A lot of ammunition going. So when we ran into the shelter, and that's what basically they wanted to do. So they shot a lot of missiles, so all the soldiers will go to the shelters, which are not as close as the border as it is, so they can come without having any encounters in the middle. So we ran to the shelters, and we were there for around 20 minutes. And at the beginning, it's sad to say, kind of, because that's a reality for us, but you know, missiles are something, but it's not always a war. They should, like, sometimes missiles are going around, but it's not something that it's like out of context, and we're in a conflict area, so we know it. So we thought it was really nothing, and in 2 hours we're going back to our stations, and that's basically it. But after 20 minutes in the shelter, we started hearing weapon shots, gunshots. And that's where we understood that things are not exactly, there's something wrong. Because, first of all, who would shoot? At who? And why? And we heard it from the sea. So we were like at the beach, kind of, and we heard the gunshots coming from the sea. And we understood that something is off, so we went on the radio and told them. And that's when the sirens so we have this term in Hebrew called Chadirat Mechablim. How would you translate it to English? Terrorists coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Infiltration.
Yeah, infiltration, right. And that's when you heard the sirens, and they went over the radio and told us that they cut the radio off. So we had only contact with someone in our base, not in our near spaces. So we were like 6 bases around. One of them was Zikim. The other one was Yoav, and us. So we were like a three bases radio, and they cut it off so we couldn't talk with one another. So once the infiltration was they infiltrate to Zikim, we didn't know about it because they cut the radio off. So we heard it, and then they told us to go out, and there were a lot there was a lot of missiles going around. So we just ran. And the other guy that was with me, so it's couples. That's how we do it in the army. The other one got kind of a panic attack. He did not really understand what was going on. So I remember telling him I went on the radio actually, and I said that I need someone to take him. And they said they cannot do it because it was a 10-minute drive, and they cannot do it because of the missiles. So they just tell him to think what makes him happy and stay in the shelter. Which was kind of during everything you don't really think about it, but after a time you think about something weird to say in that position. But he stayed there, and I went there with 2 other soldiers that came in later, and from that point going on, they told us to load our weapon and be ready. So there were 3 times that they were close to coming in, but they either took them out from the sky or from the sea. And the other time, so basically we were supposed to be there for 4 hours, but because of what happened, no one could come to switch us, to sub us. So we were there until around, it was I think 2 p.m. From 6:30. And then once they took us out, we went on around Tzomet Yad Mordechai, so Yad Mordechai Junction. It's close to Nativ HaSara, and that's where we understood that what we experience is not just on military bases, but on the kibbutzim. If it's Nativ HaSara or Zikim and we heard what's going on around the music festival, which turned out to be the Nova. And there were a lot of people coming in and out, and people driving around. And you see on the road, you see cars coming in from around the Be'eri and Kfar Aza area. They were coming with their glasses shattered, or just you see the different pickup trucks of the terrorists on the road. So you kind of see what's going on. And you understand it's not just on military bases, but on everyone. And that's where everything got a little, like, you didn't really understand what was going on. But you understood it's something bigger than you are, than where you are. So the only encounter we really had was actually a day later, on the 8th of October, in the morning. So that's what we did basically during the day and the night. We were just like kind of waiting for them to come while making sure they would not enter any of the kibbutzim near us. And that's on the next day. It was around the morning. We had so there was a group of terrorists coming with a car from around the Tivasar area. They were coming with a car, and they were around our base, and they took them down in the opening gate of our base. And that's where we kind of ended our shift there and went home.
Good, so I'll stop you there.
Yeah.
Hila. The longest day of your life, I would imagine, October 7th.
Okay, I think.
Patuach.
Patuach? Okay. So, first of all, you presented me, and I think my main and the first identify I'm a mom. So I hear now Itay, and I heard it, I think, quite a lot of time, this story, and I feel now overwhelming about this story. Actually, I think about the October 7th that I don't remember the October 7th. I remember only, I think, 4 points. The first one is a picture of the sunrise, because Itay sent that, as he told in 6:30, this picture and say, you don't believe it's amazing sunrise. After 10 minutes, we got another text, you don't believe we have a lot of missile here. And after, I think, something like 7 o'clock, 30 minutes after, I have to to shut down the phone. I love you. I don't know if I can express the minutes that it's like you stop to breathe. The other point, I think it's the call from Rebecca that asked me what is going on, and it's Shabbat, and as we know, we've never speak in Shabbat. So I really don't remember what happened. I just know what I felt in the 7th of October. It's like the life finished, and I really don't know what is going on. And I think I spoke quite a lot with Aaron and Rebecca about it. If we split, it's like 3 things that happened. The 7th of October, this almost 9 months, and I think the other point, the other part is the future. That for my first time, I admit that I'm 25 years old, but I'm not. 53 years old, and I think to myself, for my first time, when people ask me things, first time, most of the question, I don't know to answer. I say, I don't know about the future. So I did it in the 3 parts, and I think since the 7th of October, we live in a kind of a lot of questions and a very few answers.
Itay, you were finally allowed to leave the base. You go home, you finally get some sleep and some rest. You wake up and you hear some terrible news about your friend Dushi. Will you tell us a little bit about Dushi?
Yeah. So where I grew up, it's called Chimshit, it's a small village. So we're not a lot of kids in our class. So we're kind of like, we know each other since we were babies, and we're kind of like grow together. So if it's kindergarten, if it's elementary school, middle school, high school, army, So it's just like a family. So I have my family of 5, I have my family of 4, and I have my family at home, which are like 5 closest friends that we were just like been together for our entire life. We act like brothers. We never, it was never a friendship really. And we're doing everything together. So basically, I'm a kid, right? I'm 21. I'm not an adult, and I never, I didn't do a lot of things in my life yet. And we were just being friends, being brothers. So we were traveling and we were hiking and we were doing everything together. We knew each other better than anyone on earth. No filters, just being ourselves. And my best friend was Otem Dushi. I'll call him Dushi because that's how we called him. So that's how I'll keep going. So when we finished high school, now when he went on the army to be a paratrooper, and he did his 8 months trial. He did everything that he needed to do, and he was a combat soldier. And he was the right hand of the commander of the paratroopers division. So they did everything together. I always laughed at him that he's a driver because he mostly drove him around Israel, and he made the best coffee, so that's why they took him. And he was doing his job. He was so happy. Everyone loved him. Everyone loved him really. He's the happiest man alive. He's always making jokes. He's always messing around. He's the only one that I know that lives his life like he knows that you get like a one-time chance. And that's why we went on this hike in Bulgaria together for a week without our phones. And that's why we did everything together. And when we, asked ourselves or asked one another what we want to do when we'll grow up. So one wants to be a lawyer, one wants to go to high tech, one wants to be a stand-up comedian. And when we came to Dushi, we always had that one question, and he would go, I will be happy. I will be happy. So on October 7th, I was not on my phone, as my mom mentioned. But I really wanted to check on him because I knew that from my friends, the only one that would go up there would be him. So I was that Shabbat in the army, but he was home in Shimshik. We live around 2 hours from the south, which in Israel time it's a whole country, right? 2 hours for you guys,
It's rush hour on Telegraph.
Yeah, exactly. But for us, so it's very, very far. I'm from the north, this is the south. And he actually got back from a party at around 5 a.m., right? So he never went to bed even. So he was kind of awake. His mom had to wake him up. Think about that situation. That like I kind of take it for granted because I feel like that's our nature. But he's 20, right? And his mom wakes him up and says, Oten, wake up, there's a war going on. It's not very typical thing to say, but that's what she did. And the first thing that he did was not drink coffee. He didn't drink coffee at all. He just said goodbye to his family, his girlfriend that stayed at his place, wore his uniforms and just went south. So he drove as fast as he can. And he texted us on the way there. I opened my phone and I saw that he texted us, I'm on my way to the south. Love you all, take care. And that's where I went on a call with him. The situation was kind of weird because it felt like a goodbye, kind of, but we didn't know who from who kind of thing because he went there and he passed by me, right? And it felt like very off. It felt not natural, and it was like a 5-second call, literally. And I have his location on my phone, like some brothers do. And I saw at the evening that he's in Kfar Aza, and that's where I knew that he was fighting. And I kind of like refreshed the location every few minutes that I could, just to see where his location was. And I saw always Kfar Aza, so I knew it's fine. And then I went back home, as you mentioned, and I talked to his girlfriend over the phone, and that was Sunday night. It was Sunday night. So think about that. It's almost 2 days after October 7th started. But we were not really scared because we knew it was douchey and he will be fine. That's him. I always said that if I could send one person that I know to an island by himself for a year, and not just that he would survive, he will build a whole city. It's him. That's the kind of guy. So we were not really scared, but it seemed a little bit weird that he didn't even text it to say I'm okay. Didn't even make a call to his parents, his girlfriend, us. And his location never changed, but his location was on. And suddenly, on Sunday night, his location turned off. And that's where we started getting suspicious. And on the night between Sunday and Monday, 2 officers knocked on his house and told his parents that Dushi died. So I was asleep because I didn't take any time to sleep. It was like 48 hours by then. I just like fell asleep, and actually his dad texted me and called me over the night, and I didn't wake up because I was just in my bed. And when I woke up, I woke up from a call from one of my friends, and you know how you just like wake up and you see what you missed over the night. So then she just said like hello in a raspy voice, and I saw all the messages and calls and the missed calls from his dad, and then she just started to cry, and I told her just say it. She said Dushi died, and from then I don't remember anything really. It was probably like it was a short time where I didn't. My parents told me later how I reacted, but I don't remember any of it. The next thing I remember is hugging his dad at their house. So we were basically a family, right? His dad was my driving teacher. I know them since I was a baby, and they're basically my family too. And suddenly you realize that your best friend died in the war. And what happened was that do you want me to tell how he died or not yet?
Maybe I'll have you hold on to it for a
Okay.
second if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just mindful of time.
Yeah.
Hila, your friends' children have died in war. You've got friends and family serving in the IDF. You've had to go with your family into bunkers multiple times, including the Iran weekend. And like you told us, you're not sure what the future holds. What does today hold? How do you make sense of every day right now?
Okay, I have to admit about Scratcher because you didn't hear, but a few minutes ago it was a motorbike that passed you, and I thought for a minute it's siren alarm. I think it's quite explain how we live now. For me, okay, I have to confess, I'm quite of free control. And suddenly in our life, I think, I said it, I didn't say it, but you can understand it, that we live with a lot of unknowledge. We don't know things. I just told, I think yesterday, everyone about the Iran weekend. It's the way that we called it. It's not normal because in this weekend we understood that Iran going to send at us a missile, and then we got in the news that they did it. So now, for 7 hours, we sat and expected. It's not something normal. I told everyone the first thing that we did, that we collected all our children and we were together because our Gali, she was also here. She's 25 years old. She lives in Haifa with her boyfriend, so they arrived also. So we collected all the family and we were 6 people with a lot of variety of response, but we sat and wait for missile. It's something not normal, but I think it's a kind of thing that explains the situation that we are living now. And if I have to precise, me and my husband, in a very ridiculous way, we decided to open a bottle of wine. We drank all the wine. I'm a kind of a person that when I drink, only swallow a wine and become so drunk. But we finished the wine. We saw a very stupid Italian movie. But when we woke up, I told Meron, we are alive. So I think I try to explain maybe in this sample the way that we are living now. And I think it's frustrated, it's a fear. But we live our life. But it's like, I need help. יקום מקביל?
A parallel universe.
Yeah, a parallel universe. Things happen, and we are living, but it's nearby.
Itay, we just have another minute or two to talk now, and then Itay and Hila said that they'll stay a little bit at lunch and will answer questions and talk with us. You defended your country, you continue to defend your country, you've lost your best friend, and you've lived the last 8 months in this parallel universe, as your mom has described. What do we, your American Jewish family, what do we need to know?
So I have the weirdest message that will come out of this talk. I think the best thing you could do is that the American community is actually 2 things. One, keep doing that. Because being here creates a small light in a very big, and I kind of seen the news, and I actually had a talk with Aaron about it yesterday about the news and how people see it here in America. And this shul creates a lot of light in this world, which sometimes seems a little dark. And the second thing is, and that's the weirdest, it's a bit weird to say it, but I think the best thing you could do right now is actually come to Israel. So I'll tell you the truth, Israel is not a war zone right now, at least not all of Israel. It's right, we're a very small country, but a lot of the area, and like where I live, I don't feel the war every minute. So you see the news and you see friends that are coming out of Gaza and out of Gaza, and inside Gaza, or you see, you're at funerals of people that you knew, or your friends. But Israel itself, it's not a war zone. And I see a lot of from when I talk to people here, a lot of them are very scared to come to Israel, but Israel is not scary right now at all. And I think the best thing you can do as Americans is come here, and come to be part of Israel, and see Israel, and come back here to America and spread Israel all around, and you'll get a better knowledge of how it is right now and how's the feeling. Because Israel now is stronger and united, and the most amazing Israel I saw in my life, in my 21 years of living in Israel. And I think that if you'll get the chance, either with a mission or by yourself, take it. I know it's not the most, it's not the first thing that will probably come to your mind, but take it. It's the most important thing that you can do as Americans, as Jewish people, and as people who love Israel, and I'm sure that you all do. That's pretty much it.
With that, I want to say thank you. I'm sad that we have to end the conversation here. I know we send a dash to Rebecca, who is in Israel right now.
Love you, Rebecca.
Celebrating Shabbat. And אנחנו אוהבים אתכם. We love you. I hope you bring all of this love back to Israel with you. And I hope you know that our prayers are with you, our strength is with you. And may God be with you every step of the way. You are not alone. You're part of something bigger than you, and we are grateful. And we love you.
Love you too.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.